Hi guys, this is Katie Groves, and I kind of look like a mess right now because I basically just woke up to find that sometime in the last few minutes, I think, our packs got stolen. It's a wonderful part of being homeless. We took precautions to keep that from happening, but someone, probably more than one person, managed to get the better of us and our partner, like I said, in the last few minutes. So, luckily we have our phone. That's why the recording quality on this is probably going to be a lot lower than normal. Because our boyfriend's phone is gone, Thomas's phone is gone, but our phone is still here so we can make this video. It just seems like right now, like yesterday and last night, it's just kind of one of those times where everything goes wrong. It was almost comical how one thing after another just went wrong last night. It's just astounding. Like, for example, we couldn't find the person that we were trying to buy weed from, which was a problem because weed is kind of our medicine, our main medicine. And but then Thomas found some weed on the ground, which was wonderful. And then when he went to roll it into a joint, it outright jumped out of his hand, basically, is how it felt. And then we couldn't find it on the ground. And we looked for a bit, but finally Thomas found it, at which point someone immediately stepped on it and walked off with it stuck to their shoe. And it was one of those times it would not have been wise to say anything. Things like that. For some inexplicable reason, his card didn't work, his bank card, which had a little bit of money on it from his family. So we weren't able to buy the food we were trying to buy. All sorts of things like that. I don't smoke tobacco, but he does, and he had a bag full of it, and he put his hand through it, and it just outright broke, and all the tobacco spilled everywhere. Like, that happened right after the weed thing. So it was just stuff like that, like, all yesterday, late afternoon, and last night. I even spent the day yesterday extremely sick to my stomach because we went to this soup kitchen and they served shellfish without telling anybody that it was shellfish, without it even looking like shellfish, as far as me or my partner could tell. And we ended up getting really sick from it. He's outright allergic to it, but he's okay. He didn't have as much as me. And I, as far as I know, wasn't allergic to it, but I've been doing a lot of integration lately, and it appears that I have integrated with a part who has at least a mild allergy to shellfish, because I got some allergic reaction symptoms. And the main one was just vomiting profusely. So, yeah, the last 24 hours has been intense, and honestly, my attitude about it is just, shit happens. You know, sometimes this is just how it is, and like I said, this is part of being homeless. Terrible soup kitchen meals that make you sick, with irresponsible staff that don't inform you of what's in the food before they give it to you, getting all your shit stolen, having your weed or tobacco fall on the ground and get stepped on by other people and carried away, having your bank card not work. I'm really not sure about that one, but luckily my partner's dad is really helpful when he chooses to be, or when he's able to be, about things like this, and so hopefully we will get more assistance there. It's a complex situation that I really don't feel comfortable talking about on here. As far as I know, my partner's parents don't know about my channel, and if they did, I don't think it would matter with his dad, but his mom, it might be a different story. So yeah, I get hesitant to say too much about it on here, especially because we still are receiving a degree of financial assistance from them. And honestly, if I had it my way, I don't think I would be, but right now Thomas needs it, and so that's what we're doing. Okay, this is all rambly. Like I said, I just woke up. We just got our stuff stolen, and I look like a total mess. I know. But today, our plan today was to go to a park and do a bunch of hygiene and self-care stuff because we've been really struggling with that. As you guys can probably tell, our hair is in serious need of washing. We've been having a lot of trouble getting ourselves to any homeless service centers to take a shower and stuff like that. We put a lot of work into getting ourselves to the soup kitchens first, and obviously that didn't turn out so great, but we're going to keep trying with different places. Sometimes it's just impossible because we have so many alters who are so traumatized around being homeless from when we were a teenager. I don't know how much I've spoken about this on this channel, but we started fighting for our freedom by sleeping on the street and couch surfing a lot when we were a teenager. Part of our attempt to get out of MK before we actually turned 18 was to use that resource. We fought really hard to get MK jobs that would enable us to be more on the street. We fought to be able to do more sex work on the street, to be able to sell drugs on the street, and to move out of more of the underground stuff so that we would have more freedom. And it's not that we wanted to do any of those things. However, we did not have a choice. We were going to have to do something like it. And so we fought to do it more on the street, and that gave us more contact with people in the general public. That gave us more room to connect, and it did a lot of good within the context of that very violent situation. And so we have a lot of trauma around it. We also have a lot of parts who feel very attached to being homeless, who very much want to be homeless because they equate it with a level of freedom that we otherwise were not at that time able to have. So we have very mixed feelings about it, but there's a lot of trauma there. And one thing about it is that because we were underage at that time, we did not have access to homeless service centers. And when we did start going to homeless service centers when we were older, we were very skeptical about them, very afraid of them. Luckily, the last time we were homeless before this time, we were in a town that had really good homeless service centers, and that made it easier, but it was still challenging for a bunch of reasons. And now, the place we're in, it has a lot more resources, but we've still yet to really find the good ones, if there are any. And so it's just going to take us some time to adjust. As anybody who's experienced homelessness probably knows, there are a lot of people who choose to work at homeless service centers in order to be abusive to the homeless. There are a lot of people who may go into it with good intentions but get jaded and eventually become abusive. And a lot of times, it can be challenging too, dealing with other homeless people who are more mentally ill and who are addicted. In some ways, being more sober and well is an advantage. In some ways, it can be a disadvantage when it comes to getting resources. And I know one thing that I feel a lot of pain around is that a lot of people will look at me and assume that I'm not really disabled and assume that I don't really need services and I can't possibly need them as much as the person next to me. And so that can be painful, feeling that unspoken resentment. Okay, the sun is rising and it's kind of blinding right now, so I'm going to end this video here. But yeah, this is just an update, let you guys know what happened, and we're just going to be continuing to try to get our bearings no matter what goes wrong. Thanks.